Alright, what's up everybody? Back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today, we are finally doing the 2023 NBA Draft is tonight. And today, finally, my mock draft. Very, very excited to do this. I have no idea what's going to happen. I've kind of pre-planned some picks, a few. But after we go to after 8 or 9, I don't know what I'm going to do. It's going to be very crazy. I'm not doing any trades, by the way. This is a no trade mock draft. This is if every team keeps their pick. What happens? I updated some of the picks already as well. I updated the Nuggets have the 29th pick after the trade yesterday from the Pacers, and the Celtics now have the 25th pick, or the 23rd pick after their trade from the Grizzlies. And yeah, we're gonna get right into it. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. Really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, all that stuff like that. I really appreciate it. We upset a lot, and I don't want to waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. Also, today we're doing the first round of the draft, and yeah, I'm trying to do this based off half of way of what I would do and what I actually think is gonna happen. I know I'm not gonna be a draft predictor. I'm probably not gonna predict any of these right. We're just gonna kind of have fun with it, you know. And if trades happen later, oh well, I'm doing this a little bit earlier. So yeah, let's get right into it. The number 1 pick. With the first overall pick in the 2023 NBA draft, the San Antonio Spurs are selecting Victor Wembanyama, the 7'5", 220-pound center from the Metropolitans, 19 years old. I mean, yeah, we don't really have to talk about this much. He is Victor. He's potentially going to be the next generational player in the NBA. The skill set that he has for 7'5", the height, yeah, the skill set that he has, just, it's insane. And the Spur and anybody in this position would have took Victor number 1. Very excited to see what he can do in the NBA this year, but for the entirety of his career. But yeah, and the Spurs get a guy now that they can build around. The Spurs were a team missing that guy, that one franchise guy they can put everything around, and now they got one with Victor Wembanyama, man. Just what an amazing pick for San Antonio. Now this is where the draft starts, as early as 2. I feel like this is the first time in a few years where number 2, the draft actually starts here after number 1. The last few weeks, there's been reports saying that Brandon Miller is probably going to be the consensus pick, but then I just got a tweet literally right before I started this saying that, from Sean, saying that Scoot is now gaining some traction. And for the entire year, I have Scoot as my number 2 prospect in this draft. Been very tough, but I'm going to be selecting with the number 2 pick in the 2023 NBA draft. The Charlotte Hornets are selecting Brandon Miller, the 6'9", 200-pound forward out of Alabama, that 20-year-old freshman. Just got a lot of skills. You know, the shooting ability, the potential is there with the frame, the length. He can shoot the ball very well. Nice touch around the rim. He even has some playmaking ability that could be unlocked. Defensively, he's got a lot of potential. I mean, he's got a lot of potential to be an amazing player. And the Hornets now pairing him with LaMelo, you know, as a wing player that can go get his own as well. It's a very solid pick. I feel like what other pick they make is going to be decent. It's going to be solid for them. I'm going Brandon Miller in this mock. And now that leads number 3 to Portland. Again, we're not doing any trades. So Portland keeps this number 3 pick. And with the 3rd pick in the 2023 NBA draft, they select Scoot Henderson, the 6'2", 195-pound point guard from the G League Ignite, the 19-year-old. He has potential to be something different in this league. I mean, the athleticism he has, the strength, the speed, all of it is amazing. The ball handling ability, the passing ability, getting to the rim and finishing, the mid-range game I really like a lot. And with all this, the potential he has potential if he works on a few other things like his jump shot and things like that. I really feel like he can be a star in this league. And now Portland has him. And now if they take Scoot Henderson with the 3rd overall pick, it might not be Dame time anymore in Portland. This might just set them up to trade Damian Lillard, and now you have Scoot Henderson, Anthony Simons, Shaedon Sharpe, and whatever you get back from the Dame trade. And that looks, and Portland now looks a lot better. Now with the 4th pick in the 2023 NBA draft, the Houston Rockets are selecting Amen Thompson, the 6'6", 214-pound guard. He played for Overtime Elite last year. He's 20 years old. He's got a lot of upside here, and I really like this pick for the Rockets. Even though they missed out, of course, on a top 3 guy, maybe a guy like Vic or Scoot, they get a guy in Amen Thompson who can be a point guard. He showed a lot of point guard and lead ball handler ability at Overtime Elite. Of course, the athleticism obviously is there. The feel for the game, the passing ability. He made some nice passes. He's definitely more of a point guard, lead guard type role, Overtime Elite. And now he can grow. Him and Jalen Green is a very explosive, athletic backcourt. And now they could kind of try to mold him into being their point guard. That's a big thing. The Rockets have Kevin Porter Jr. at point guard, who's not really a point guard, but he's just kind of forced there. And now Amen Thompson actually has some point guard skill, despite he is bigger at 6'6", but he has some point guard skill and just a really another fun talent in Houston. With the 5th pick now, it gets very interesting. But with the 5th pick of the 2023 NBA draft, the Detroit Pistons select Jarace Walker, the 6'7", 249-pound power forward out of Houston, 19-year-old freshman. I just think he's just a great player. And I feel like Detroit would like a guy like that, even though they do have a lot of bigger wings and centers and stuff. I feel like Jarace Walker's a tough guy to pass up on. Of course, Detroit has a lot of options here. They have Cam Whitmore, Ausar Thompson. But I really like Jarace Walker. You know, he's got a big NBA-ready body already. The defensive ability is amazing on the perimeter and in the interior. He can do all of it. He's all around the court defensively. Offensively, he has a lot of skill as well. The three-point shot has potential. The passing ability, even like facing up, getting the mid-range, ball handling and stuff like that. He's a player that can really, any position or anything you ask of him to do, he can do it. And I feel like that would be a great move for Detroit. Now you have him with Cade Cunningham, Jay and Ivy. You can slide Bogdanovich over to the 3, and now you have Jarace Walker, maybe Jalen Duran. That's a big front court down there. But yeah, I really like Jarace Walker in Detroit. But I definitely do feel like they have a lot of different options they can go to. With the 6th pick in the 2023 NBA draft, the Orlando Magic select Ausar Thompson, the 6'6", 218-pound wing, played for Overtime Elite. He's 20 years old. I just think the Magic, they definitely also as well have a lot of different options. I was decided between him and a Cam Whitmore. But I just think Ausar Thompson really fits in Orlando. You know, Orlando, I feel like that 2 spot is kind of open. They have Gary Harris, who's very solid. But I think the potential of having an Ausar Thompson is just really big for Orlando. You know, being a guy, Ausar Thompson, that could score the ball. The athleticism, obviously, is elite. The potential to score the ball from many different ways. Of course, the jumper still needs some work. But the thing is, he has confidence in his jumper a lot more than Amen. He's a lot more of a scoring type guard. I feel like Orlando doesn't really have scoring type guards. They got Markelle, Cole Anthony, but they're more of, they can score as well. But I just really like Ausar on that wing, could score. And if it does work out, you can have a lineup of Markelle, Ausar, Franz Wagner, Paolo, Wendell, and Orlando just looks stacked with the young talent. With the 7th pick of the 2023 NBA draft, the Indiana Pacers select Taylor Hendricks, 6'9", 214-pound forward out of UCF, 19-year-old freshman. I think it's an amazing pick here. You know, Indiana's hole in their team is kind of that power forward position. They don't really have that. You know, they're running Aaron Nesmith out there at power forward last year. So getting a guy like Taylor Hendricks that defensively looks like he could be something crazy. You know, the shot blocking ability, even being able to play on the perimeter a little bit is really good. On offense, the three-point shot, she looked really good last year. How consistent is that going to be? We're going to see. But the three-point shot last year and then being kind of like a pogo stick as well. And now having him and Miles Turner down there defensively, no one's going to be able to be comfortable in that paint. You know, if Taylor Hendricks, if that three-point shot could be consistent, that's an amazing pick for Indiana. And now you have a really solidified power forward spot next to Miles Turner with Taylor Hendricks, where both of those guys can both pick and roll, but also pick and pop very effectively as well. With the 8th pick in the 2023 NBA draft, the Washington Wizards select Cam Whitmore, 6'6", 235-pound, small forward out of Villanova, the 18-year-old freshman. The Wizards now are in a new chapter, a new rebuild. They traded away Brad Beal, they traded away Kristaps Porzingis. They now have basically just a bunch of random players out there. And why not go for a guy with a lot of upside in Cam Whitmore? You know, the body is there, the athleticism is there. Last few days, it's been talked about that his draft stock might be falling, and he could maybe be a player that slides down to 9-10 because of some injuries that have come up while working in the draft process. But I feel like the Wizards, just with the upside of Cam Whitmore and a pick here for the Wizards, especially with them having nothing, just need to take some upside and some potential. I think Cam Whitmore has a lot of potential offensively. You know, the athleticism is there. Even he was a scorer at Villanova. He could score. The three-point shooting looks solid. The mid-range shooting even has some tools to be solid defensively as well. And I think Washington, why not take a guy like Cam Whitmore that has a lot of potential, and you could just kind of give him a lot of, well, not give him the keys maybe, but you could just grow him and see what he becomes, because he has makings of potentially being really good, but he also has, you know, he's a big boomer bust, high upside guy. And for Washington, this pick, it's like kind of like Why not take a guy like that right now? With the 9th pick in the 2023 NBA draft, the Utah Jazz select Anthony Black, 6'6", 210-pound guard out of Arkansas, 19-year-old freshman. As reported the last 2 days, the Jazz are actually trying to move up a little bit in the draft because they really want Anthony Black, and they're afraid Anthony Black might be gone by 9, by my mock. He's still there at 9. I think it's a great fit for Utah. I really love Anthony Black. He's a big point guard that I love his passing ability, his passing IQ. He's a big body. He uses his size to his advantage. Defensively, he has a lot of potential there as well. Just has potential to be a very solid, just really good guard in the league with his size, his skill set. I can play the 1 and the 2, and the way that Utah plays, it kind of like a system type role. I feel like Anthony Black will really fit well there with guys like Larry Markin and Walker Kessler that he can just kind of, make plays for. And yeah, I think this is a great pick for Utah if they get him at 9. With the 10th pick in the 2023 NBA draft, the Dallas Mavericks select Derek Lively II, 7'1", 215-pound center out of Duke, the 19-year-old freshman. He was the number 1 player in the class of 2022. He goes to Dallas. The Mavericks have been trying to flip the number 10 overall pick. I think it's probably going to get flipped, but they've been trying to flip it to the Hawks for Clint Capella or maybe John Collins. So I was thinking maybe if they don't make that trade, why not instead of getting Clint Capella, you could just get a center like Derek Lively who does similar things. It's a big center that I feel like is kind of like the modern day type of center that everybody kind of wants. The center that's going to block shots. He blocks shots very, very well. He averaged almost 2.5 blocks per game last year at Duke. He blocks shots. He can even hold his own on the perimeter very solid. He's got a lot of length, set screens, and then catch lobs and dunk. That's really all he has to do. Just set screens for Luka and Kyrie, roll, catch lobs, and then block shots on the other end. That's all he's got to do. And he's in a great position with Luka and Kyrie where they're both willing to feed him the ball, especially Luka. And he'll just be feeding off him, And I think that'll be an amazing pick for Dallas if they can't go out and get Clint Capella or a center like that. With the 11th pick in the 2023 NBA draft, the Orlando Magic select Gradey Dick, 6'7", 204-pound wing out of Kansas, 19-year-old freshman. I think it just makes a lot of sense here with this pick. They took Ausar first, and now I feel like one thing that Magic don't really have are shooters like that. They don't really have like a 3-point marksman. And Gradey Dick could come in and be that, coming off the bench, or maybe starting, maybe replacing Gary Harris at some point while Ausar still develops. Yeah, he's just a shooter. Shot 40% from 3 last year, but also has potential of being more than a shooter. Maybe, shooting, maybe being a decent playmaker, making good passes. Maybe even when he gets run off the line, the pump fake, drive to the rim, layup type stuff. I don't know how well that's going to work in the NBA, but I think with the shooting ability he has, it's a great pick for Orlando here at 11. With the 12th pick in the 2023 NBA draft, the Oklahoma City Thunder select Bilal Coulibaly, the 6'8", 194-pound wing from the Metropolitans 92. He's still 18 years old. Just a Thunder type pick with the 12th overall pick. He's a guy that has really shot up the draft boards in the last month. He's got a lot of potential, the athleticism, the length, the defensive potential, offense, always around the rim, always a big ball of energy. The big thing is going to be his shooting ability and how confident he can get with that. But I think he's a Thunder type player. He's a Thunder type player. A dude that, not saying not well known, but a dude that has a lot of potential, a lot of upside. Could be a gem, but also could be something, but the Thunder are willing to take a chance because the Thunder can take chances. Because at this point, Thunder have everything already. Why not get another guy that, maybe could turn into something? Because the Thunder are just special and privileged like that, I guess, with getting every first-round pick they can. With the 13th pick in the 2023 NBA draft, the Toronto Raptors select Cason Wallace, the 6'3", 195-pound point guard out of Kentucky, 19-year-old freshman. I think he just fits really well in Toronto with Fred VanVleet probably being out the door. They have a big hole in the point guard position. Why not get a guy like Cason Wallace that showed a lot of Kentucky? Defensively, he's there. The Raptors love their defensive guys. 6'3" with long arms that can defend. That's a perfect Raptor player right there. Even though they're going through a new kind of phase without Nick Nurse, it looks like they're probably not going to be rebuilding like we thought because Gary Trent opted in and they're not willing to trade OG Anunoby and stuff. So just getting a Cason Wallace, a guy that can defend, be a point of attack defender, and then on offense has a lot of potential to be a playmaker, shooting the ball well. I think it's a very solid pick for Toronto at this point, especially with all the point guards out there. I think Cason Wallace is just a safe, solid pick. With the 14th pick in the 2023 NBA draft, the New Orleans Pelicans select Keyonte George, 6'4", 185-pound two guard out of Baylor, 19-year-old freshman, bucket getter. I feel the Pelicans don't really have a dude that comes off the bench gets buckets. They have a lot of really good bench players, but just a bench player that can come in and change the game, come in with scoring, especially with the injury history of Zion and BI. They had a stretch during the year where they just lost like 10 and 11 in a row because they just didn't have anybody. And Keyonte George can help, bring some scoring punch off the bench, but also can hit shots. He's a very tough shot maker from three, from the mid range. Very smooth game. Can also be a ball handler as well. Of course, needs to get a lot better around other things, but he also goes to a team where he doesn't really need a big role because the Pelicans have a lot of players right now. And Keyonte George can just kind of slide in slowly to this role instead of having to go to a team and just be, all right, go ahead and do something now. Pelicans kind of can afford to get a guy like him where he just doesn't really need to come out and pop out on the scene right away. With the 15th pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the Atlanta Hawks select Kobe Bufkin, the 6'5", 187-pound two-guard out of Michigan, 20-year-old sophomore. I don't know why I said 19-year-old freshman. 20-year-old sophomore. And I think it's a great pick for Atlanta here. They kind of are in a weird position where they have a lot of stuff, but they also kind of suck. And the Hawks are trying to make some trades. It was reported today that they have a lot of players on the trade block. So getting a guy like Kobe Bufkin, who really rose onto the scene late, and he's just a dude that a combo guard that can do a lot of things. He can shoot the ball, solid on catch and shoot. He can drive and attack, create his own defensively. He has got a lot of potential and hustle as well. And the Hawks, really, the thing they need is kind of a backup guard that can make plays. Beside Bogdanovich, he's more of a 2-3. Kobe Buff could be the 2, but also maybe could slide into a backup point guard and be solid there. And yeah, I think he's just got a lot of upside and potential, and why not take that, especially if DeJounte Murray might be gone. Get a guy like Kobe Bufkin that maybe can replace him at some point. With the 16th pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, Utah Jazz select Jordan Hawkins, the 6'5", 186-pound two-guard out of UConn, a 21-year-old sophomore. And they just get a shooter. I feel like they don't have a guy on their team that's just a straight-up marksman, three-point shooter on the wing. Jordan Hawkins fits that role. He can come in and doesn't have to play a big role. He can come in off the bench and be a shooter. They do have a lot of players near this position, but I feel like it's a good shot with Jordan Hawkins. They don't really have, again, a guy that's just a straight-up shooter. And Jordan Hawkins did that a lot at UConn. Runs around the court all the time. He can come off screens, and especially with the way Utah plays, with a lot of ball movement and movement, Jordan Hawkins really fit right into that role, I feel like. Just come off the screen and pull. He doesn't need a lot of time to, get his shot off. And I just feel, yeah, it's a very solid pick here at 16 for Utah. And he really fits into that system. With the 17th pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the Los Angeles Lakers select Nick Smith Jr., 6'5", 185-pound guard out of Arkansas, 19-year-old freshman. He's a top high school guy. Had a lot of injuries and problems at Arkansas. Now the Lakers draft him because why not take a guy like this, especially if they're not trading the pick. I think Jordan Hawkins would have been perfect, but if he doesn't fall through there, you get a guy like Nick Smith who could be a microwave type player. Can get hot quick, shoot threes, and get to the rim. Very kind of chaotic, maybe a little bit out of control, but still has a lot of potential to be a microwave type player. And then defensively as well, he's got length and potential at 6'5" with a long wingspan. He could be something decent defensively. And now you pick him, and he doesn't really have to play a big role right away. He can come in and kind of eventually increase his role with the Lakers, and it's just like a why not type pick. Maybe he has some potential for upside, but if he doesn't, at the very least, he'll just be a guy that takes shots, and can shoot threes. With the 18th pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the Miami Heat select Noah Clowney, 6'10", 210-pound big man out of Alabama, 18-year-old freshman. He has a lot of potential here as a dude that can shoot the three ball. He has some potential there, but also defensively, he has a lot of potential with his length. Can hold his own on perimeter, and you can play him at the power forward because he can do that. Probably won't be a center yet, but he has potential to be a backup center later. With the Heat, their big man depth isn't great. Kevin Love is older. Bam is really good. Udonis is gone. You have guys like Amir Yurtseven and Orlando Robinson who are decent. We don't know when Nikola Jokic is going to be yet because he barely even played last year. You get a guy like Noah Clowney, I think really fits in with the team, and he's got a lot of potential, and I think it's a very solid pick for Miami here at 18. With the 19th pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the Golden State Warriors select Kris Murray, the 6'8", 213-pound wing out of Iowa, 22-year-old junior, the twin brother of Keegan. I think it's a very solid pick for the Warriors here. They're definitely going with a player that high IQ guy like Kris Murray is. Kris Murray is just a very solid player. Can do a lot of different things. Plays bigger, I feel like, than Rakic at 6'8". He can go rebound. He can defend on the perimeter, very solid. He can defend multiple positions. The three-point shot looks like it could be very solid as well. And yeah, I think it's just a really good pick for the Warriors that are still looking like they're going to try to keep this dynasty going. And Kris Murray, I feel like, could be a very solid pick. Not even just for him, but for any team that's like a playoff-like team that just needs another wing that can come off the bench. Kris Murray, I think, is a very good pick for any team that needs something like that. With the 20th pick in the 2023 NBA draft, the Houston Rockets select Dariq Whitehead, the 6'6", 217-pound wing out of Duke, 18-year-old freshman. Has some foot problems, obviously. He had another foot procedure done a little while ago. But I really liked him at Duke. I think he's a dude that can be kind of a Swiss Army knife type player. Shot the ball very well. Defends very solid. Makes some good passes. Just does a little bit of everything. I really like to see at Duke. Of course, still have the big concerns could be the foot problems. And his first step wasn't as great. Getting to the basket, athleticism wasn't as great as it was in high school. He was a top high school guy. But I think the Rockets need kind of a dude like this, where even if he doesn't get that athleticism and that first step back, he could just be a dude that does a little bit of everything, and the Rockets don't have dudes like that. And I think it's just going to be a pick like this for the Rockets that I think will really do them nicely. With the 21st pick in the 2023 NBA draft, the Brooklyn Nets select Jalen Hood-Schifino, the 6'5", 217-pound guard out of Indiana, 20-year-old freshman. I really like Jalen Hood-Schifino. I've said him on both my mock big boards and stuff. Like, I really think with the right system, Jalen Hood-Schifino could be really, really, really good. And I really think this is a steal here for Brooklyn at 21 to get a guy like him as big point guard. I really love his ball handling. His passing ability was great at Indiana. Likes to attack. The mid-range is very solid. Defensively, he's got a lot of potential there. Still needs some work, obviously, on the three-point shot and stuff like that. But I think to go to a team like Brooklyn already has a lot of guys there already for him to thrive with. I think that's that's an amazing pick for Brooklyn if they get him at 21. With the 22nd pick in the 2023 NBA draft, the Brooklyn Nets select Leonard Miller, the 6'10", 213-pound forward out of the G League Ignite, 19 years old. I think why not? Brooklyn has back-to-back picks. They get Jalen Hood-Schifino with the first one, and the second one they get Leonard Miller. He's a forward that's very unorthodox, very intriguing game. Got a lot of different things to him. Runs the floor very well. Defensively has a lot of potential. Offensively, he can handle the ball well for his size. Can shoot the ball very solidly for his size. Still is kind of a project and needs a lot more development. But I think with Brooklyn, when you get 2 first-round picks here, and with the team they have, it's kind of like just like a why not? Why not take a dude that, can come in maybe in a few years and be a very intriguing, very solid player for them. With the 23rd pick in the 2023 NBA draft, the Portland Trail Blazers select Maxwell Lewis, the 6'7", 207-pound small forward out of Pepperdine. He's a 20-year-old sophomore. A lot of upside here. He's got the framework and skills to potentially be really, really good and a really good steal here. He can score the ball from all 3 levels. The shooting ability is very good. He has potential to be a solid defender as well with his length. And why not for Portland at this point? You drafted Scoot number 3. And maybe Dame might be out of there, so you get a guy, Maxwell Lewis, has a lot of upside, but can also help you in case you do keep Dame and stuff. Can help you now to being, because he could still be a shooter and get a bucket here and there, and potentially you can work him up to be a solid defender. And then if you keep building him up, maybe he can be someone that can really make a difference for them. With the 24th pick in the 2023 NBA draft, Sacramento Kings select Kobe Jones, the 6'5", 199-pound 2-guard out of Xavier, 21-year-old sophomore. It's a great pick for Sacramento here. Kobe Jones just going to be one of those dudes that from day one kind of come in and contribute to a team like the Kings. The Kings feel like we really were missing a backup guard play, a really consistent backup guard play, and Kobe Jones can do that. He can be the 2 and the 1 combo guard. He can do a little bit of everything. He can play make, he can rebound, he can defend, he can score, attack. He can do a little bit of everything. I think he's just one of those just very solid basketball players where he's going to have a long career just because of his IQ and just because of he can do a lot of different things, kind of like Malcolm Brogdon, Tyus Jones, that type of mold of players. And I feel like him being on a team like the Kings that really could use a guy like this, I think it's a great fit. With the 25th pick in the 2023 NBA draft, the Boston Celtics select Olivier Maxence Prosper, 6'7", 212-pound wing out of Marquette, 20-year-old junior. Celtics just got this pick last night from the Grizzlies, and I think it's a kind of a perfect pick for Boston here. Max's process is really rising up draft boards. He's a wing that kind of the prototypical kind of role player wing that every team wants. You know, he's got length at 6'7", high energy. Because you do that, probably he'll get a big putback dunk or a big steal and transition and stuff that'll get the crowd into it. He's got potential to be a very solid shooter. Can run in transition as well, defend multiple different positions. I think it's just a really solid pick for Boston here. You know, especially with Grant Williams potentially being out of there. You know, and then just getting quality backup wings. You know, that could do stuff when Tatum and Brown aren't there, or Porzingis and stuff. You get OMP, who I think can really make a difference on any playoff team. I think with the Celtics, it'll be a really good pick. With the 26th pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the Indiana Pacers select Ryan Rupert. He's a 6'7", 193-pound wing for the New Zealand Breakers. He's 20 years old. He's just a very interesting prospect. I feel like the Pacers at this point they have a lot of different options here. And it's just kind of like a why not pick for the Pacers. You know, they want some wing play. Rupert isn't a wing yet, but I think if he bulks up a little bit and gets stronger, he could be a wing. He's got a lot of defensive potential. I think he's got a 7'1" wingspan at 6'7". Potentially could play the 3 in the future. Defensively, he's got a lot of potential. Offensively, still needs to get a lot more development there with the 3-point shooting and stuff. But I think it's worth a pick, especially at 26 here, where you already got your perfect guy at number 7. Why not take another dude here that's got a lot of upside? And it could be a position that, and if he develops right, you know, especially with Rick Carlisle there defensively and stuff, he can be a very core player to this team. With the 27th pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the Charlotte Hornets select Jett Howard, the 6'8", 215-pound wing out of Michigan, 19-year-old freshman, the son of Juwan Howard. He slips all the way down to 27. At this point, the Hornets just need anything they can get, and they don't really have a guy like Jett Howard, just a guy that can be a microwave-like player, a shooter, but also has the size at 6'8". A lot of those dudes they have are Terry Rozier, James Bouknight. Well, James Bouknight was supposed to be that, but they're smaller. I think having a wing like Jett Howard that can just be a shooter, but also when he needs to, can get his own. Defensively, still has a lot to work through. But at this point, the Charlotte Hornets don't really care about that. At this point, the Hornets are just trying to just get talent. And I think Jett Howard right now might be one of the more talented players that fit this team at this spot. With the 28th pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the Utah Jazz select Brice Sensabaugh, the 6'6", 235-pound wing out of Ohio State, 19-year-old freshman. Has some concerns a little bit. But I think at this point, Utah is your third first-round pick. Brice Sensabaugh still on the board. Why not take a shot at a dude that's a bucket getter? I would say he was a bucket getter. You know, got the bigger body frame, T.J. Warren type. I said this every time. I feel like every time I watch him, I can't get T.J. Warren out of my head. He's just like a T.J. Warren clone. He's got that big body. He can score in the paint. He can score in the mid-range post. The three-point shot, he shot 40% from 3. Defensively, doesn't really do anything on defensive end right now. But at this point, with your Utah, your third first-round pick, you have a guy talented as Brice Sensabaugh here. Why not? You know, and see if he develops into something. Even though you do have a lot of bucket getters like Jordan Clarkson, Colin Sexton, hey, those two might not be on the team by the start of next season. So why not take a dude like him at this point? With the 29th pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the Denver Nuggets select Ben Sheppard, the 6'5", 194-pound two-guard out of Belmont, 21-year-old senior. And what a pick this would be for the Nuggets. They traded yesterday. They traded into the first round of the draft, traded away 2 second-round picks to Indiana for a first-round pick. I think that was a trade. I don't know, remember. But I know the Nuggets have 29, and they get a guy like Ben Sheppard. Bruce Brown is probably going to be potentially gone in free agency. He opted out of his player option. And now they get a guy like Ben Sheppard who can not really fill that role, but he can be a really solid guy off the bench that does a lot of different things. I really like his game. He went to a smaller school, so not a lot of people knew about him. But he's a dude that can shoot the ball really well. He shot 41% from 3 last year. Moves a lot without the ball. Doesn't really need the ball in his hands a lot to do things. Cuts. Defensively has potential there. He's just a very solid player, and the Nuggets want players like him, you know, that can come in on rookie contracts and make a difference. I think Ben Sheppard to do that. If he does get drafted to a team like the Nuggets or a team like that, he can really make a difference early. And with the 30th pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the LA Clippers end the first round selecting James Nagy, the 7', 250-pound big man out of Barcelona. He's 18 years old. Mason Plumlee might be gone. They have Ivica Zubac. They've been looking for a center this whole time. And why not get a guy like James Nagy, who's a genetic freak? He's 7 feet tall with a 7'7" wingspan at 18. He can come off the bench and just block some shots. set some screens, catch some lobs. That's what he does right now. He's still very raw, still needs some development. But with the Clippers, it's like, why not get a dude a guy that you, a position that you've been trying to trade for and trying to sign for a few years? Why not draft a dude like him who potentially in another year or two can be the guy that you want? You know, a very athletic, big that can block shots and rebound and set screens and stuff like that. You can play him out there with those guys. All right, and that's the end of the first round of the mock draft. That's the end of the mock draft. I'm only doing the first round today. And yeah, so finally I'll recap it real quick. Spurs at number 1 take Victor Wembanyama. Brandon Miller goes 2 to Charlotte. Scoot Henderson goes 3 to Portland. Amen Thompson goes 4 to Houston. Trace Walker, number 5 to Detroit. Ausar Thompson, 6 to Orlando. Taylor Hendricks, 7 to Indiana. Cam Whitmore goes 8 to Washington. Anthony Black goes number 9 to Utah. Derek Lively goes 10 to Dallas. Gradey Dick goes 11 to Orlando. Bilal Coulibaly goes 12 to OKC. Cason Wallace, 13 to Toronto. Keyonte George, 14 to New Orleans. Kobe Bufkin, 15 to Atlanta. Jordan Hawkins goes 16 to Utah. Nick Smith Jr., 17 to the Lakers. Noah Clowney, 18 to Miami. Kris Murray, 19 to the Warriors. Dariq Whitehead, 20 to the Rockets. Jalen Hood-Schifino, 21 to the Nets. Leonard Miller, 22 to the Nets. Maxwell Lewis, 23 to Portland. Colby Jones, 24 to Sacramento. Olivier Maxence Prosper, 25 to the Celtics. Ryan Rupert goes 26 to Indiana. Jett Howard, 27 to Charlotte. Brice Sensabaugh, 28 to the Jazz. Ben Shepherd, 29 to the Nuggets. And James Nagy goes 30th to the LA Clippers. I think very solid. You know, it's probably not going to go anything like this. There's probably going to be some trade stuff. Already a trade happened in the second round. The Lakers just traded for a second round pick with the Pacers. But yeah, I think this is what, if no team makes trades as of now, I think this is what could potentially happen. But also I try to factor in what I would try to do as well if I was that team. But I don't know. I'm not here to predict the draft or anything because it's not going to go anything like this. But it's just, you know, why not do a mock draft for fun, you know? But yeah, that's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you enjoyed the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn on notifications, all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. Really helps out a lot. And yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow.